So now we're at unit 6.5, and in this unit we will be covering equivalent and effective rate. So this is the equivalent rate formula. Equivalent rate is equals to, we have 1 plus the rate with interest paid n times per year, bracket close, and then over here we have n divided by m minus 1 and multiplied by m. Now, how to use this formula, we will understand this better by looking at an example. So let's move forward. So this is the example. If a lender lends British pound 1 million to a customer at 5.3% for 182 days, what will be his maturity proceeds? So the dealer has lent 1 million. So this is the present value for 182 days at a rate of 5.3%, and you need to figure out the maturity proceeds, which means what is the future value of this 1 million. So we have already discussed the formula for this. We're going to use the maturity proceeds formula. So the principal amount times 1 plus the interest rate times days over year will give you the maturity proceeds. So the principal amount is 1 million. The interest rate is 5.3% and the days are 182. Okay, again, you should know the convention, but because you're using British pound, the convention will be 365. So if you solve this, the maturity proceeds are 1026427.40. So this is the future value of this amount. Now moving ahead, this was the value if the payment was made in 182 days. But what if the payment comes in 2 installments after 91 days and then again after 182 days? So instead of getting the interest amount together, you're going to get an interest amount after 91 days and then again 182 days. So you've still invested the same amount, which was 1 million, and the rate is 5.3%. Now the 5.3% is the rate for this one whole complete 182 days, but you will get interest 2 times. So what is the future value amount now? It is not going to be the same amount that we had calculated in the previous one, because you will get the first interest payment after 91 days, which will be reinvested, and you will earn interest on this interest amount that you get as well. Let's do the calculation so that it becomes more clear. So after the first proceed, we're going to calculate how much is your maturity proceeds after 91 days. So how much interest do you get in this 91 days? And what will be your bank account over here? So we're going to use the same maturity proceeds formula that we did in the previous one as well. So I'm going to directly put the formula now. Is equals to 1 million Now you want it for 91 days. So after 91 days, you will have 1013213.70. This is the amount you will have. So you have earned an interest of 13213.70. Now you will get interest on this whole amount once again. So now your maturity proceeds will be, so you're going to take this amount now, 10. Okay, why have I taken 91 days again instead of taking 182 days? Because you want to know what will be the amount after another 91 days. So this is the first 91 days, your amount is 1013213 in your bank. Now you're getting interest on this amount for another 91 days, making a total of 182 days. So if you calculate this, your amount is 1026,602. It is rounded off, okay? So 1026,602. This is the value you will get after 182 days. This value is higher than what you calculated before. Before the value came was 1026,427.40. So you can see that this value is a bit higher. Reason being that over here you have earned interest on interest. Okay, so over here there was only there were two interest payments, whereas over here there was only one interest payment, so you got the interest only at the end and there was no interest on interest. Now let's move ahead. So the dealer would have received the same maturity proceeds with the quoted rate of 5.335% with all the interest paid at the end. This rate that we have mentioned is your equivalent rate. It means that this will give you the same answer that you have calculated previously, but the interest will be paid only at the end. So let's look at an example. Let's do the calculation. So if we use this interest rate only, then we will get this amount. So maturity proceeds as 1,000 multiplied by 1 plus, now you're going to use this rate. Now we're getting interest after 182 days directly, and if we use the percentage 5.335%, you will see that you will get an answer of 1026,602. Again, the answer is rounded off, so 1026,602. You can see that this is the same answer that you got in the previous part as well. So this is the equivalent rate. It is giving you the same answer assuming annual compounding or assuming that interest is being paid only once. We calculate this equivalent rate in order to make comparisons more easier, because how are you going to compare different rates if this is the case? Some might be giving you monthly compounding, another might be giving you quarterly, semi-annual. So in order to make comparison easier between different investments, it is better to calculate this. Okay, so now that we have calculated the maturity proceeds, I have now plugged in the formula like this. We can calculate also the equivalent rate. So this is the formula for it. Let's plug in the values. The equivalent rate formula is the rate with interest paid n times per year. So this is the rate 0.053 that was given to you in the question. And in the question, they told you that the interest was being paid how many times in a year? It was paying after every 3 months. So if the interest is being paid for one whole year, that would mean interest is being paid 4 times. So you have 4 over here and you have 4 over here. M represents different. M represents that how much is the interest being paid, how many times it is being paid in your financial security. So the financial security was of only 6 months. So if it's only for 6 months, interest will be paid only 2 times. Okay, so this one, the quarterly one, it is based on 4 payments if it goes for 1 year. So you have 4 over here. But this M over here represents that in your financial security, how many times interest is being paid. So because it's a half yearly security, interest will be paid only 2 times. So after the first 3 months, then again after the next 3 months. And if you calculate this, your answer will come 5.335%. So this is the equivalent rate. If you think about 0.053, which means 5.3%, Interest paid twice. Interest paid twice after every 3 months, and you are not getting a return of 5.3%. You're in reality getting an interest of 5.335%. This is what we saw over here as well. So you can calculate the equivalent rate in order to make comparison between securities much more easier. Now moving ahead to the next concept of effective rate. Now we're going to discuss the effective rate. So the equivalent yield with interest paid only once per year is known as the annual equivalent rate or the effective rate. For example, in the previous question, we assumed that the interest was being accumulated for 92 days and then 182 days. So that means after, 91. So after 3 months, and then 6 months. Now, basically, what the effective rate assumes is it assumes that the effective yield is the interest that would be accumulated by the end of the year if the deposit were rolled over 3 times, which means that the principal and interest at the end of 3 months would all be reinvested at the 6-month rate, and the 6-month one would again be reinvested at the 9-month, and that would complete the 1-year tenure. So basically it is going to complete the 1 year. And this is the formula to calculate the effective rate. 1 plus the nominal rate quoted, days over here 365, divided by days minus 1. Again, we'll do an example in order to understand this concept even more. So a dealer is trying to compare two different US dollar investments. The first is for 153 days at a yield of 9.1%, and the second is for 87 days at the yield of 9.05%. Assuming that there are no other significant differences between the two investments, which is better? Like I told you that these rates are important for comparison purposes. We need to decide that which one is better. So the formula that we have just discussed, we're going to use that formula and we'll do the first calculation. So that is going to be 1 plus 0.091 times 153 divided by 360 and bracket close 365 divided by 153. We're using 365 over here because there are 365 days in a year, and we're using 360 over here because this is a US dollar investment. So if you calculate this, you would get 0.09475, which is 9.475%. And similarly, you'll do the calculation for the other one as well. So 1 plus 0.0905 times 87 divided by 360 and 365 over 87 minus 1. So 9501, which is 9.501%. So now you can make a comparison. This one is better because this is offering a higher effective rate. However, there is a big assumption that it is assumed that the same investment can be rolled over 3 times, which means it can be reinvested at the same rate, which might not happen in reality. The rates might change in reality, but still it does give a good benchmark for comparison purposes.